Alright, welcome to episode 51 now of Box News. Sorry, I've been away for a few weeks. Been busy working on getting a real job, as Box News is not paying me. Also been playing Halo Reach excessively. It's a great game, but that's another day for that review. Today I want to talk about the Crackdown game series. Crackdown now has two titles. Crackdown 2, no special title with them. They're fun games. They're really fun games. I want to start off by saying that. It's basically, if you were to have a sandbox of toys, this is what Crackdown is, and was. There are a lot of differences, though, between the two games. First off, obviously, the companies that made them, both are basically funded by Microsoft Game Studios, and then they have the sub-company Real Time Worlds, which made the original Crackdown, which I feel is the better company, and Roughman Games made the sequel, Crackdown 2. Like I said, there are a lot of differences in the games. Crackdown, the first Crackdown had basically different factions. You had to go against different gangs, different territories. There was missions. There was the infamous orbs to collect, which didn't change from the second one. There were orbs in the second game, but there were actually gangs and just people you fought in the original Crackdown. There were a lot of cool weapons, a lot of cool vehicles. Basically, what you are, let me give you a little brief detail. What you are is a cop. You're a super cop, basically. The orbs give you, there's agility orbs, there's, for guns, for rockets, pretty much anything you do, you upgrade your character. There's 5 or 6 levels to your character. With agility, you're able to run faster and jump higher with your gun. You become a better, more accurate shooter, and your bullets are slightly stronger. With driving, basically your car handles a lot better. It's a tighter instead of a looser car. So that in both games, that's identical. You upgrade your character by collecting orbs, by killing people certain ways. If you kill someone with a gun, you're going to get an orbs bonus for that. If you run them over, you're going to get driving orbs. So going through and you do things to earn these orbs, and that levels up your character. So I really like that. There's incentive to these open world games to play a certain way or play however you want, and you're still making good progress through it. But with the first one, there's just different factions, there's different gangs. You actually take out 21 different gang bosses, and they give you basically missions. There's the infamous announcer, as I call him, who gets mad at you. He's back in number 2, and he curses you out. So he basically just cuts you down the whole time. He gets mad at you and curses at you. He's a jackass. But it's fun, though. It's funny and it's fun. But in the first one, there's all these gangs you have to try to eliminate, and you go through these cities and basically recapture these territories, take out the gangs, and then that's how you complete it. The fun thing is you can play online with people, and you both destroy the city, do whatever, and you're a cop, so you can't get in trouble. You can get in trouble with the cops. If you shoot your own people, they'll eventually come after you, but it's not like GTA or other games where you're kind of like a bad guy. This one, you're a good guy trying to save the city, which is overrun by the corrupt bad guys. So it's kind of a role reversal. It's really neat. So I really enjoyed the first one, and it's just so much fun. I really enjoyed the second one too, but the thing that I didn't like, they added a lot of upgrades to the character. It's different companies, so they had a different perspective on the game. Zombies. The city, Pacific City, is where it takes place again. It's a remake. It's basically the city, but it's in ruins. They had to remake the city from scratch, but it's all in ruins now. So if you played the first one and you're going back, well, not going back, but you played the first one, now you're playing the second one here, and you're going to notice a lot of familiar landmarks. You're like, oh, I remember doing missions here. I remember taking out crime lord here. I remember, saving this part, and everything looks so wonderful and bright, and I mean, yeah, there was crime and stuff, but everything looks so great in the first game, and now this is just overrun by zombies. There's an infection and a virus going through the city, and you're trying to shut down all these infestation holes, like you're trying to stop them from spreading. So there's like 15 of those. There's 15 crime areas too. There's only one gang now, and it seems more like a sandbox toy than it did with, I mean, the missions, there were no really huge missions, no cutscenes in Crackdown 1, but it just seems less structured and just, hey, go have fun and blow things up in number 2. But I mean, that was the whole premise of the game. It just, you got this badass super cop and you go blow shit up. That's pretty much what the game is about. So I guess they hit it on the dot with Crackdown 2. If you can get your hands on either one of these games, they're exclusive to the Xbox 360, by the way. If you can get your hands on either one of them, it's worth your time, because it's a fun toy to mess around with. And then if you have friends who you can get online with, because it's only co-op online, 2 to 4 players. If you can get online and play these games, you're gonna have a fun time. You're gonna have a fun time regardless of playing online with your friends. It's not an everlasting game. It's not going to be one of those games that you're like, man, remember that game 10 years ago? No, it's not going to be that game. Is it something that you want to pick up in between games? Like you're done with the big Halo game and you want to wait for Black Ops. What should I play? Pick up Crackdown. You'll have it done in 2 weeks. It's easy for achievements if you're into achievements, if you're an achievement junkie like myself. So it's just a simple game. But definitely check out Crackdown first, and then get Crackdown 2. You can get the first Crackdown for like $5, and the second one's already under 30, even though it just came out in July. I don't think it did well. But kids, they're rated M, both of them, so make sure you have your parents' permission to play this game, because there is violence, there is cursing. I don't believe there's any adult material. No, not to my recollection. But make sure kids get your permission. I don't want to encourage kids to play M-rated games. Violence is not good for anyone. But it's a fun game. Got a lot of cool videos coming up. The month of October I'm doing recommendation/review videos all month long. I'll be doing the best horror/thriller survival scary games. So I recommend, I'll be recommending, I believe, 10 to 13 games to you this month. There'll probably be shorter videos, just quick reviews, why I think you should play them, why they're good. Hence, Halloween is at the end of the month. That's why I'm doing this theme. So stay tuned throughout the month, of October for all my sweet recommendations. And I will also have some game reviews. I'm finishing up Halo Reach, finishing up the game Prison Break. So I got some weird reviews. I got some really good reviews coming up. And like I said, all I can do is recommend Crackdown. It's just a fun toy. It's not an epic game by any means. It's fun, but it's not, there's no replay value after you beat it. Sorry. So let me go down, give it a grade. I give this series as a whole a B-, just because the lack of replay value, the lack of story. There's not much of a story. The graphics are kind of cel-shaded, cartoony, which is kind of cool for if they're going for that feel. It's not realistic by any means, especially when your super cop can pick up a car and chuck it at someone, which is fun, I must add. So it's and the controls. If you've played a sandbox, open world, GTA, Saints Row, any of those games, controls are almost identical. Very, wide to get in. The vehicles, triggers to drive. It's a very, very familiar game. Easy to pick up, easy to play, not very difficult by any means. But pick up Crackdown, Crackdown 2. I want to thank you for watching now 51 episodes of Box News. Stay tuned for, I don't know, come up with a name for me. Give me a name for October, for my horror month or something. But I want to thank you again, and stay tuned for more episodes. Welcome to episode 52 of Box News. This one is about the game Prison Break. Have you seen the show? This is my first question for those people who are interested in this game? If your answer is yes, then you're going to get a kick out of it. Well, have you seen the show and liked the show, the first season? If the answer is yes, then you will like this game. If you liked the show and the first season of the show, you will like this game. The game takes place in the first season of the show. It doesn't go on to the other seasons of that show. I really enjoy the show myself, but I didn't like where it went. But this is not a review of the show, this is a review of the game. But if you like the first season of the show, you're going to get a kick out of this game because the game takes place during the events of the first season. You are not any of the main characters of the show at all. You are an undercover cop that gets put in there to investigate Burroughs and to make sure he gets put to the electric chair, just like in the show. That's what's happening to him, to Link. And basically you investigate the events that are going on, which they're kind of trying to tie in with the events that occurred throughout the season of the show, and it takes, I mean, it was a good write to add a character in to an event that already, obviously happened. It's like a rewrite of the season to add a character into. It's like what they did with V. They rewrote the show, or with any other series they rewrote. It's like they added a new character, some popular person. But you play as him. You basically, it's a stealth game mostly. You sneak around the prison, you kind of go investigate, you run and do odd tasks. You can kind of mingle and fight in the yard, and you can fight with people, and you can also do lift weights and do punching bag practice to buff up your character. You can get tattoos. But the story is mainly focused around the first season of the show and the events that happened inside the prison with the Burroughs and with Michael Scofield and Lincoln Burroughs. If you haven't seen the show, where you get this game, like understand the game. Yes, you'd understand the game. Yes, you'd get the game. It might even turn you on to watching the first season of the show, and if you enjoy it from there, you might watch the rest. So if you haven't seen the show and you're still interested in the game, I think you should check it out, just because it was an interesting story, and they did pretty cool things in the show. I don't want to give spoilers, but it's a smart show for the first season, and it just kind of goes, but that's like most shows. So this is not, don't worry, this is not a game that if you haven't seen the show, or like a movie, if you haven't seen the movie, you're not going to not have the same satisfaction. But if you have seen the show, you're going to get more satisfaction, I believe, out of it, like I had. I really enjoyed it. A well-written story, like I said, but it was based off the show, and they just kind of added things. It was a good write to add the character and do what they did. Graphics-wise, it's not the best that I've ever seen. It's decent. It's cool to hang out and go through the prison. It's very small environments, though. Very, small levels, not much exploring, but you're in a prison, you're kind of blocked off from things anyways. But it is kind of fun to sneak around the guards and do things like that. Controls, the fighting mechanics are not the best. There's like a quick punch and then a strong punch. There's also reversal and so on. Achievements are very easy to get in this game, so if you're into achievements, pick up this game just for that. Play through 5 to 8 hours is the story, and then you're done. And there's like an online versus mode, which is okay. It's just fighting, but the fighting mechanics aren't the greatest. But so the replay value once you beat it, there's no replay value. So it's an average, above average game. It's a good adaptation from a show. Unlike other games, I've seen Lost had a video game. It was decent. They did the same thing, where they added the character to it. I believe there's actually a couple characters they added to it, and basically went through the events the first couple seasons. It was decent, but I'll do a review on that another time. But Prison Break, I believe it's for PS3 and 360. I don't know if it's on other consoles or handhelds or anything, but I definitely recommend trying it. If you did enjoy the show, I definitely recommend trying it. If you're kind of wondering if it's worth your time right now with all these big games coming out in the fall, I say avoid it. but I definitely recommend it if you're bored, you've tried every game out there, try this game. So, Prison Break, I'd say C average, 75. Not the best, not the worst, had some decent writing to it, decent graphics, controls could be improved, but it's playable, it's fun if you like the show. So that's my thoughts on Prison Break, and many more episodes to come soon. Thank you for watching now episode 52, Prison Break review, Box News.
Still nothing from the surface?
Welcome to episode 53 of Box News. It's been a little while since I've done a video. I apologize for that. But I've been still in the Halloween spirits. I know I was going to do a bunch of Halloween related videos, so I didn't end up doing those. But since I've been in the spirit still for Halloween, I'm going to talk about some scary games. My next few reviews should be covering some scary ones, some other ones will be mixed in, other ones that I've been playing. There's been a lot of new releases since my last video, some of which being Fable 3, Fallout New Vegas, Black Ops is out today as I speak, and there's a bunch of new games coming throughout this month too, so I will try to stay up to date with the new releases, but it's going to be difficult. I've been playing Fable 3 lately and Fallout New Vegas, so that's one of the reasons why I haven't done a video. But anyways, this video, as you can see, is for the game Alien vs. Predator. It is available on both consoles, PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. This game is really... it's okay. The graphics and everything is a lot of... it's very detailed for the environments and the things you go through. The uniqueness to this game is the fact that you can play as the Predator, the Alien, or a Marine, and each has its own few-hour long campaign. The downside of this game is it's extremely difficult if you're a Marine trying to get through the campaign. The game is not lit well at all, and you get flares, but the lighting in the game was poorly done. The Predators definitely have the advantage in the game when you play through theirs. They're absurdly stronger than everyone. The Aliens have good defenses, but their strengths are terrible. And this does not adjust, it doesn't transition over online at all. It's just poor online. The matchmaking is terrible. You constantly get booted from a game. There's no dedicated servers, and it's poorly done online. And I mean, for having such a short campaign, you're gonna want the replay to be online, and it's poor. But when it does work online, it is fun to play as the different things. There's different deathmatch modes. There's capture areas and eliminate and whatnot. But what I'm showing you here is a walkthrough now of the Marine campaign. If you've ever seen any of the Alien movies, especially Aliens, which is number 2, you will notice in the left you have the radar, and you'll notice the noise from Aliens 2 as the enemy gets closer, the blips and everything. It's a classic sound. So if you're a fan of the series or the movies, you're definitely going to enjoy this game for that, but it's very clunky. Controls and the movement is very hard to get used to. The HUD here is very nice. It's not, crowded. But as you can see here with the lighting, the flares don't really do much and they don't last long. So we're going to walk down the corridor here. And if you listen, you hear the blips from your radar.
You should be clear of friendlies, so if anything moves, shoot it.
Now, if you've ever played a shooter, the controls are very familiar with any other shooter. Obviously, pull the trigger, it shoots the gun. They have an alternate fire mode with the left trigger.
Listen, bitch struggle to find me. I gotta go offline.
See, as you can see, these graphics, I mean, they're okay. But with online being so terrible and the short campaign, I'd have to say this is not one of the best games. There was a lot of hype building up to it. I was very excited for this game, and then when I finally got to play it, I was just very let down. It's not the game I wanted. Could there be a sequel with many major improvements? I hope so. I'd like to see this become a new successful franchise in the shooter, just because I like dark and scary type shooters like Fear and other games like that. I'm burned out on the Call of Duties and Halos pumping out a new one every year. Don't get me wrong, they're fun, but I like variety. So we'll kind of leave you now with a few minutes of footage here, just to see if you can get gain an interest in it. And if I interest you in this game by just watching this little bit, great. If I saved you from playing a poorly done game, even better. That's the ultimate goal here. But this just about wraps up episode 53. I'm going to have a bunch more coming. And stay tuned. Sorry for the delay in episodes. I'm going to get back on track and do, after I catch up where I want to do one every Sunday. So definitely subscribe to my YouTube and check out my videos every Sunday. And I hope to have some really good ones coming soon. If you see one you like, definitely recommend your friends to my YouTube. So sorry to bore you with this video. Not much to say about this game. Wasn't really thrilled about it, so can't really be passionate about something that kind of sucks. So I'd say it's a below average game. Fun if you're a fan of the series, just because the nostalgic value is just like, hey, cool, I remember these movies growing up. And I know they've made other Alien vs. Predator games, but anyways, it's worth checking out if you're a fan of the series. If not, you're not missing much. But sorry for the kind of iffy review. Like I said, I wasn't too passionate about this game, so can't really give you a passionate review. But I hope you learned something, and thank you for watching Box News. Alright, welcome to episode 54 of Box News. This one is about the game Silent Hill Homecoming. Going along the theme, like I said, of some good or bad horror games or scary games. This is another one of my next few that I'll be talking about. Silent Hill Homecoming is the 6th installment in the Silent Hill series. The predecessors have come starting on the PlayStation and PlayStation 2 and PC, so if you want to catch up on the series, you can check them out on the other consoles and computer. The games are loosely tied into each other. Each game has a different story with a different character, all based around the cult of Silent Hill. This entry follows the journey of Alex Shepard. He is a soldier returning from war to his hometown of Shepherd's Glen. He finds the town in disarray, and his younger brother is missing, who you just saw there, who he ran into, and he's basically in a hospital, and don't ask me why there are like prison gates in this part of the hospital, but apparently there is. This might be the psych ward of the hospital, but yeah, I didn't make the game. It's one of those things, you just kind of go along with it, and it's scary. But he's trying to find his younger brother whom is missing, and he basically go on throughout the game searching for the brother, and you discover more about the Order, which is, like I said, the cult of Silent Hill. Throughout this game, you learn about the history of Silent Hill, its past and whatnot. So this game touches on some of the past games and what is going on in the town of Silent Hill. You also get to see some of the classic characters from other games, including characters that they had twisted for the movie, the Silent Hill movie, like the nurses. They changed those. So you run into those. You run into the Pyramid Head guy, among other things. So this is a really neat game if you're a fan of Silent Hill. The controls, though, are kind of something to get used to. They're not the greatest controls. As you can see here, it's, if you've seen the movie or played any other games, you go in and out of the world and you really don't know where you're at and what's going on. But where to go from here? Like I said, the controls aren't the best controls for a game. It's kind of clunky and it doesn't, move the greatest. But as for a story, this game is superb. This has a really great story to it, and it's really fun to play. Like I said, if you can get over the controls. The thing I didn't like about it, the lack of weaponry. You don't really have much to defend yourself with, and you run into a lot of bad guys who seem to be way more powerful than you are. You run into AI in this game who help you out, but they don't really help you out. They seem to get in the way or just kind of do no damage to the enemies. It's a game that's very jumpy like this, very creepy. So if you're looking for a game for you and your significant other to play, I definitely wouldn't recommend this one unless you want them to be really close to you, which then I guess I recommend the game. So yeah, definitely pick up this game if you want your significant other to hold you close. As you can see, the combat is kind of weird in this game. It's very similar to Saw, if you've ever played Saw. The combat was very clunky in that game. It seems like some games can't get that down. Another game was Condemned. They could never really get the combat down. It was great when you had guns, but when you had the other weapons they supply you with, which was a majority of the game, the combat was very clunky and it was hard to hurt your enemies with weapons, and you seem to die a lot. Maybe it was me, maybe I suck at this game, but like I said, for me, that's how it played out. Well, this is Silent Hill Homecoming. It's just like the other games in the series. You go around collecting things. It's basically Resident Evil's rival, and it hasn't had the commercial success as Resident Evil has. I also think the movies have helped push Resident Evil, and especially with Capcom backing it, I think Capcom is doing slightly better than Konami, which Konami made Silent Hill. But I think that's why Resident Evil's had more success, but I personally couldn't pick one or the other. Both games have its flaws. But I'm not doing a review of, or a rival review, I should say. So, but this was Silent Hill Homecoming. I hope you enjoyed this review. And be sure to check out more videos, as I'll be posting more right away for you all. Thank you. Welcome to episode 55. Ironically enough, this is Resident Evil 5 review. So number 55 kind of fell perfectly into place, I guess you could say. Going along, like I said in the last couple, this is the scary movie, horror movie game. I'm still in the mood for Halloween. It's gone now, which makes me sad. It's only one day a year. Should be more. But anyways, to talk about Resident Evil 5 now. This is obviously the 5th installment besides Zero and all the other spin-offs. This is going along the sequence of events and chronological progression. Follows the events after 4. This one is, it takes place though in Africa, in a fictional town. Follows the characters of Chris Redfield and Sheva. She is all body, no brains, let's put it that way. She does not help you out at all in this game. She constantly gives you things you don't need, heals you when you don't need to be healed, and is just an annoyance. And when she dies, it's a game over. And I had constant trouble with her dying on me, going off and doing stupid things that you don't need her to do, and it's hard to control her. And it's just a mess. But the convenience in having her is the fact that she is another inventory for you, and she can hold weaponry or things that you are full on, and she'll hold them, and actually, I mean, she'll use them, but she'll hold other weapons, and she's just an extra inventory for you. So there is beneficial value for having a partner in it, but if you play with a computer, she is an idiot. So definitely, if you're going to play this game, it's definitely recommended to play as a duo with a friend online or locally. You're going to have a better time playing it. The first time, played it through with the computer, and it was a very frustrating experience. The game takes place in 2009, which is 11 years after the events of the original Resident Evil game. The story explores Chris Redfield's life during the decade between the two games. So there's a lot to cover. They do a lot of backstory, and a lot of stuff with the Umbrella Corporation is tied in, which is really neat. I felt they did a really good job with the story. The graphics and everything are really good too. The thing I don't like about this series, though, is that they don't push the limits of the gameplay. They're still utilizing what they used in PlayStation 1, was the fact that when you're aiming and ready to gun, you can't run. There's no running and gunning in this game. You slowly, like, sidestep walk when you shoot. And the controls, they're just... It's frustrating to do that when the zombies now are getting faster in games, especially in this one. The zombies are much faster, and you can't run and gun, and it's very difficult when you're fighting waves of them. So if they continue to progress making the zombies smarter like this, you're going to have a much more difficult time beating it. But besides all that, the game is really fun. That was my biggest complaint, was the fact you can't run and gun. Second biggest complaint was her. The AI was really dumb, and she constantly just really didn't, as you can see there, she's just standing there like an idiot. So, but the graphics, the cutscenes, the story, all that's amazing. Definitely worth playing. They have released a Platinum Edition with all the downloadable content, so it's worth getting now if you can get your hands on it. It's less than $30. This is not a letdown in the series by any means. I just hated those two things, and it made me really, against the game because of that. But it's still a solid game. I don't want to take anything away from it because of those two complaints, even though they are major. But during the let's talk about, give you a little backstory. During the game's events, Redfield is a member of the group known as the Bioterrorism Security Assessment Alliance. He's sent here to Africa to investigate a terrorist bioorganic weapon. And basically, you come across Albert Wesker, and he returns to the series. He is a founder of a relative company called Tricell, and basically he's he's the antagonist of this game, pretty much. You end up fighting him in the end. Spoiler alert. So, you end up fighting him in the end, and play the game to find out what all happens with that. But as you can see there, she's giving you items that you don't need already. So I mean, it's crazy. But this is Resident Evil 5, and let me see if I can get to some zombies here quick. As you see here, the zombies have evolved from their previous forms. If you've seen the recent movie, you'll notice where they got the idea from. So like I said, they're much faster now, they're much stronger, they're harder to kill, and you still can't run and gun. And she's shooting him in the crotch. But that was my review for Resident Evil 5. Replay value is average. If you like the series, you'll play it again. As for online, there's only a couple modes, and I mean that's it. So replayability besides online is subpar. So, but just want to thank you for watching my review on Resident Evil 5. I hope you liked it. Hope you enjoyed it. I didn't rip it apart too much like I thought I would. So hope you all pick this game up or rent it. It's worth it if you're a fan of the Resident Evil series. You're not going to be let down. It's just the two things that I'm sure everyone agrees with me on is the AI and, well, maybe you'll agree with me on the running and gunning. Maybe you like the fact that you can't. But that's just me. But I hope you enjoyed this review. More to come. Alright, welcome to episode 56 of Box News. This one is about the Condemned game series, Condemned and Condemned 2 Bloodshot. Condemned 1, excuse me, is called Criminal Origins. Both games follow the character Ethan Thomas. Basically, he's a police officer, private eye investigator, I guess you would say, or crime scene investigator. And basically you get in the first game you get all these cool devices to try to track down and find criminals, and you use fingerprints, you use DNA and all kinds of different things. And at first it's just like a normal robbery, but as the game goes on you find out some of these criminals have darker secrets and darker things about them, and you get darker and darker into these possessed criminals in the first one, and things just get extremely crazy. Following the first game, Ethan basically descends into alcoholism and homelessness following the events for the first one, just because it was so twisted. The alcoholism has messed with him, and also has had him starting to see some of the creatures, if you would call them that, or criminals, from the first game. And so he sees things, and things just start getting crazy. As you see here, this is footage from Condemned 2. Some of these creatures, the murky, kind of oozy, black, goblin creatures. I don't even know what they're called, to be honest. But they're very, very creepy. So he has to fight through this. Basically, he's fighting a war with his mind from going crazy. Alcoholism, fighting actual criminals, trying to investigate crimes and trying to solve all these people. It's a very jumpy game. You get some sweet gadgets. You get to use guns at very short periods of time in the game. When you beat both games, you get to play through the game with a gun the entire time. but your first playthrough you only get weapons that you find throughout the level, like a wooden bat or a 2x4 or an iron, or just objects like that where you can bash people. Each has weight and power, which basically allows you to swing faster or slower. Obviously the heavier power will do more damage on someone, but you won't be able to swing it as fast, so your efficiency is down, but it will require less strikes to destroy your enemy. There you just picked up a conduit and you can strike people with the conduit. The combat system is much to be desired. It's a very difficult combat system because it requires both triggers to block an attack and deflect an attack. You don't really have a block, and you have to time it. You can't just hold up your arms and block an attack. You have to time it while they're swinging at you or doing whatever, and it deflects their attack, but it's off. It's very clunky. Like where you would think you would block the attack, it doesn't really work quite as well as you think it would. So I'd say that's a major flaw in the game. And like I said, the weapons and the lack of guns. I know it's not a shooter, but it's, I just felt they could have done a better job with the weaponry. You don't really have an inventory. You just find clues to go to the next area. It's kind of a puzzle solving thing too. It's like if CSI, the show, would meet Silent Hill, I guess. If those two would meet, that's what Condemned is. So like you see there, you have to throw an object, gets a ladder, and then you try to find your way through the level. Both games are roughly 8 to 10 hours long. Condemned 2 actually features online, which not many people played. I played it online for a while, but it was hard to matchmake, and I wasn't very good. There was a couple game modes in it which were kind of fun. Like basically, team deathmatch was one. Try to destroy so much objects in someone else's area was another, and survive. It's just because the combat system was very clunky, and you didn't get to use guns online because that would be too easy. So it was very clunky. Story-wise, it's a decent story. The psychosis, the area which they called it, just caused the riots and whatnot, and you eventually take down serial killer X. He's the one that you are investigating in the game, or the second game, and basically that's just what you go through in this game. You have a partner, basically, Rosa. She helps you throughout it, and I mean things happen to both of you, but she's the one that kind of keeps you, on a straight and narrow, keeps you balanced, because you, like I said in the beginning game, you are a heavy alcoholic, and so you make your way through those events, and they set it up to potentially be a third one. I hope so, because they are a fun game. It has a good story, but I hope they improve on the combat system, and it could be, an excellent game. But controls, like I said, I hope they improve on. They're below average. Combat system, is below average. I feel it could be a lot better. As you can see there, it just prompted me to hold left and right triggers at the same time to block that attack. But yeah, like I said, I'm gonna go along. The replay value, if there was a lot of people playing it online, I'd say it's fantastic. For replay. As for the story, it's a fun Fright Night feature. There's a bunch of achievements, unlockables, hidden things, crows, what have you. So there's things like that, but it's one of those things you're not going to play a lot of. So just because the controls, but it's worth a playthrough. It's a fun game. Pick it up for the story. This goes along the theme of the scare Halloween games. So if you want something to scare your pants off or whatever, check this game out. This was, like I said, a review for both games. Obviously play them both in order. Don't jump into 2. Play number 1 if you want to play number 2, and then go from there. But hope you enjoyed my review. This is Condemned 2 footage, but the review is for the series as a whole, and Here's to hoping they make Condemned 3, if they make it bigger and better. And hope you enjoyed my review. Stay tuned for more box news. Welcome to Box News. Sorry I've been gone for a while again. Back again, playing some new games, some old games, getting some reviews ready for the holiday season, so I can let you know before Christmas, which is very soon now, just over 20 days. So I'm going to let you know what games to buy, what games not to buy coming up on a few episodes from now. But first off, I've been playing a few games. One of the most recent games I've been playing is Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock, which is the latest installment from Activision in the Guitar Hero franchise. The difference in Warriors of Rock is the fact that they brag and boast about the new storyline option that they have had absent in prior games in the series. This game allows you to do classic modes like Quick Play, an evolved version of Quick Play called Quick Play Plus, and basically you go through the songs. You get 5 stars like before in all the other games, but you can also get bonus stars for getting streaks, different points for doing 4-player, for doing 1-player, for doing each instrument, and eventually you unlock different instruments, clothing options for your character. You can create your avatar that you use. Well, you can't unlock any clothing for them, but the character you create in the game, you can unlock new clothes, different things. Also, in Quick Play, you unlock new instruments, and just basically it adds on, not just playing the song, gives you a goal from playing the song. The story, how it's different. The story is different because you play as the classic characters. There's 8 characters throughout the game, and there's a story behind it, which is just really a cutscene of something happening, which really doesn't give you much detail, so it's very lacking, but there's a story behind it. Yeah, guitar, I mean, they've pumped out so many Guitar Heroes, now they're just getting stupid with them, to be honest with you. It's if you like music games, the game's great. The story element is great. It's a bonus, having a little cutscene, having a little story behind it. Yeah, it's kind of cool. You fight this demigod, and you take him down with your music and how well you play. So that's really the gist of the story. You play through the first time, and then you unlock the character's alter ego, or like their god power, or whatever you want to call it, their inner rock selves. So you get to play this alternate character of the character, and you get bonus stars. So you play through it having to get 5 out of 5 stars, but then you get streak awards for getting for streaking, not really streaking, but getting note streaks. You get awards for that, so you get more stars. You can choose. Each character has their own special powers. Some have multipliers, some has protects you from missing notes to ruin your multiplier, some saves you from failing. So you can choose 2 out of the 8 when you're in Quick Play to earn the bonus stars that I talked about. But in the main game, you come together as a force and fight the demigod, and you can earn up to 40 stars. Well, you have to earn up to 40 stars in each song to destroy him and get through the campaign, or the story, or whatever you want to call it. So you do that, you get through the story, and then, I mean, that's really it. You just play music the same as normal, and you just get more stars. So I guess this time around the game is more giving, and that's really it. There's not really any other new modes. There's online battles like before. There's an evolved version of the music studio. I just feel each game is just a slow step. It's like the Madden series. They only give you a little bit at a time, so you buy the next title to get those little other new features instead of just giving you a brand new thing each year. So is Guitar Hero like Madden, robbing you $60 yearly? Sometimes with Guitar Hero 4 times a year. Yeah, they're robbing you $60. This is stuff that, unfortunately, unless you like music games, I wouldn't waste that money on. But it's a solid game. There's no flaws. There's no glitches. It's another $60 music game. Does it do anything new and different? Slightly. Is it worth another 60 bones? It's up to you. If you like music games, then yes. If not, then it's really not. So, I mean, there's the bottom line. That's Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock, and that's what separates it from any of the other music games. So, I'm not saying don't get it, because it's a solid game. but like I said, I can't explain it over and over again. I'm saying the same thing. But just want to thank you for watching another episode of Box News. This was episode 57. I got some other new games I've been playing. I'll be talking about those in the next few episodes, and then I putting together a list of games you should get for the holiday season and games you should definitely avoid. So stay tuned for that episode. That'll be episode 60. Coming up, we have a couple more. So thank you for watching yet another episode. Alright, welcome to episode 58 now of Box News. Thank you for tuning in for another episode, and I hope you've watched since the beginning. If not, if you're a newcomer, welcome to Box News. Please watch my old ones and subscribe. Try not to bore you here, so I'm going to talk about the game of the day, Mafia II. Avoid this game, to be perfectly honest with you. It looks good in trailers. It plays decently in the game, but the story is meh. The collectibles are Playboy magazines, which, you know, that's kind of cool, let's be honest. Playboy magazines, well, centerfolds, essentially. And you can collect all the centerfolds and view them. So, M-rated game, parents, don't let your kids play this. I mean, let's be honest, it's cool, but besides that, that's kind of, you know, whatever. But Mafia II, the gun controls are very frustrating. The driving mechanics are not the greatest. The theme of the game is fun, though. The Italians, the mob, and like everything is really cool. I love the music. I love the snow factor. Like if Grand Theft Auto could have weather besides the rain and the fog, if they could have snow and seasons, you know, that would be great. That's what Mafia 2 did. They had snow, they had seasons, they had themes, they had the world changing with as the year went on, which is really cool. It's something new, and I thought that was great. But the rest of the game is not so good. The story, there's no options. It's very frustrating. Half of them are timed race around games, like dropping items off at gas stations. Very frustrating, annoying, and not fun. When I play a game, I want to have fun. I don't want to play tedious, annoying tests. I'm not working, I am playing. That's it. That's how I feel about that. Mafia 2 is just, it wasn't much fun. I had more frustration with the controls and the way the game progressed, and just everything about it wasn't fun. I didn't get a chance to do any of the other modes. If there were online modes, I didn't touch them. I was very frustrated with the game. I did not finish it just because it was a game that I couldn't get into. You know, I tried for review sakes to finish it. I couldn't do it. So if you're interested in Mafia for the theme, check it out. It's a cool theme, very well done. The visuals, you know, good, but for the playability of it, it's very lacking. A game should be playable, and this one was definitely not for me. Not for me. But you know, I play a lot of games, play a lot of open world games, and this one didn't seem like one of the greatest open world games. But that's that. That's Mafia 2, and available on both systems. And both systems like PlayStation and Xbox. But I really don't have anything else to say on that game. Like it didn't really do much for me, and I didn't finish it. So I hope you enjoy this review. I apologize for the lack of information on it, and you're not missing much, to be honest. So I hope you enjoy this episode. More to come. Welcome to episode 59 of Box News. This week I am talking about the game Singularity, another game by Activision. It seems like I'm playing only Activision or EA games lately. I don't know why that is. I don't know if they're the only two companies out there making games anymore. As Bungie now even is part of Activision. It's ridiculous. There's no other company, no other variety. That's why we're getting the same games every single year. Anyways, on with the review. Singularity, good or bad? It's a good game, to be honest with you. It's a good game. The storyline of the game it's hard to get hooked to. In the beginning, it's very slow. They kind of throw things at you that don't make sense, but as the game goes on, it unveils the story with a lot of documents or like pages of stuff that you have to read to kind of get the whole story. I like games like that, but when I'm running from a bad guy or trying to get something done in a game, I don't want to stop and read pages of stuff to try to figure out the story. I want the game to kind of show me, kind of like a movie. I don't want to be narrated. I want to see, you know, what's happening. Do like a flashback or flash sideways if you're a Lost fan, or you know, do anything of that nature. Because I don't want to read. Let's be honest. That's why I play games. So that's my thoughts on that. But Singularity, it's basically a rip-off of, who makes it? 2K. 2K's Bioshock. I believe that's right. Quote me if I'm wrong, please. It's basically a Russian rip-off. The game is a Russian apocalypse game that takes place in two time periods, current day and I want to say it was the 60s or 40s. I'm getting all my games mixed up. I'm thinking Mafia and I don't know. But it takes place 50 years prior, let's say, prior to now. And it revolves around the TMD device. And, you know, if I would have read all the documents, I would have been able to give a scientific explanation of the device. But basically, it's in a device that turns back time, unlike Cher. Well, she wrote a song about it that had her son playing guitar while she was in a thong. Yeah, awkward. But the device turns back time and moves time forward. So let's take, for an example, a rusted box. If you use the device on the box, it becomes unrusted and new again, allowing you to get the contents inside. Well, if you use that on a person, for example, well, if you turn back time on them, what's going to happen? Or if you use it, I don't know if it turns back time on them or flashes forward. Well, anyways, it dissolves their skeletons and turns them into dust, basically, and you kill them. It's a pretty cool device, I must say. But so you use this device in multiple ways. You get different abilities throughout the game you can purchase in the gun shops and everything. And it's really unique, but a lot of the atmosphere in the way the game plays is a total ripoff of the first Bioshock, I felt. Is that good and bad? I mean, games rip off other games all the time. You know, I mean, every game company does it. Guitar Hero, Rock Band, you know, Halo, Call of Duty, Gears of War. They're all ripping off like the better parts of games and making it their own. I mean, everybody's authors, movies. Everybody does that crap. Musicians, hell, nobody uses their own music anymore. Everybody samples. So, whatever. I'm going off on some rant. I apologize. But anyways, back to the game. The device itself, that's what the whole game is about. Getting this device, using it to change the events of time that happened and stopping this evil mad scientist. And you have this guy that's, military guy that's helping you. And you just go through the game and, you know, it's a shooter. It's a first-person shooter, I should tell you that. And the guns in the game work quite well. It's very frustrating to shoot the enemies. Some of them are weird mutated monsters from things. And that, you know, that's one of the things I didn't read in the documents, how they got there. So if you play this game, read the documents and you'll learn the whole game in its entirety. But it's a solid game. It took me a while to get into it. I didn't really get into it till the end of it, and then it was done. But the neat thing about it, there's 3 different endings. You can choose how you want to, and each gives you a different cutscene at the end. So it kind of wraps up quite well. So it's about 8 to 10 hour game, depending on what difficulty you play it on. If you play it on easier difficulty, you probably do it in about 5 hours. So, and there's online, but I warn you, nobody plays online. So if you're watching this video, jump online, because nobody is online to play this. And if you're an achievement junkie, half of the achievements are online. So, yeah, play online, people, because, well, I don't have the game anymore, but I did have it, and where were you? You weren't there. So, that was my thoughts on Singularity. Like, I don't know what else to say about it. The guns worked well. There's a good variety of guns. But it's just one of those games I didn't get hooked on. But you'll see why. It's worth a playthrough. If you have 8 hours to kill, rent this game. Don't buy this game. So, if I were to give it a grade, I would give it a solid C+, like a 78 out of 100. That's what I say. Just a lot of storyline gaps and things I didn't like, or things that didn't really hook me. But it's not a bad game. Anyways, that was my review on Singularity. Hope you enjoyed this episode. This was episode 59 now of Box News. I'm still on the air. YouTube hasn't banned me yet, but I'm sure they will after these crappy reviews, or if these crappy reviews continue. So, just keep watching my videos. Please subscribe. I got a video coming up of the Christmas games that I recommend that you should buy for your significant others. And, or if you have kids, or if you know anyone that's a gamer, I'm going to have some I recommend, and I'm also going to have some stuff to not get your kids or whomever, because I don't want you to waste your $60. Goes a long way these days, kind of. But anyways, thank you again for watching yet another episode of Box News. Happy holidays. Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. And like I said, I'll be talking about Christmas stuff soon. Sorry for those people who are not fans of Christmas. Get over it. Anyways, Box News. Welcome to episode 60 now of Box News. This is probably one of my Christmas episodes. This might be the only one. So Merry Christmas to everyone. I might do another shout out. Depends on how busy the holidays get this year. They are busy times. But I have a list and I am checking it twice. This is the good and bad for Christmas Box News style. I'm going to start off with the bad. Get them out of the way first. That way you can listen to what's good, so you can jot down what I recommend you buy for your significant others, family, friends, and whomever, or even me. I'll take a free game. Call me up. Bad, in no specific order. These are just 10 games that I felt that are renters that you probably shouldn't buy or give as gifts, even, because you don't want a bunch of pissed off people out there. I know I don't. Call of Duty Black Ops. Wait. Before everyone gets all pissed off, hear me out. It's more of the same game this time around. You get a new story that's about 8 hours long, then it's done. Fun, great campaign, okay? Online, everyone is so damn good. You live for 2 seconds and die. The most frustrating experience this year. Because the last year's one was Modern Warfare 2, the year prior, World at War, and the list goes on. So if you're not dedicated to put at least 8 to 10 hours every single day in this game, prepare to get your ass spanked. Anyways, moving on. Fable 3. Yes, another big title that was a big disappointment. The thing that disappointed me was the story was so short and everything was so simple. You took away a lot of the fun features from 2 and gave me a shortened game. That's not a good thing. Moving on. Fallout New Vegas. Again, more of the same thing. Why are developers taking shortcuts, improving slight things, but keeping more of the same? Yeah, I get the thing if the system works, why change it? If it's not broken, why fix it? I get it. But I want evolution, I guess. Gran Turismo 5. Racing around in circles and having cars that don't have damage, and among other things. Graphics are amazing, but you can't win everything with graphics. Transformers is a perfect example of that, and so is Avatar. Medal of Honor, another glitched out game that was high in expectations. Great campaign, but online is glitchy. A lot of glitchy things even in the campaign itself. So, do you mind glitches? Get the game. EA Sports MMA, UFC does it way better. Enough said. GoldenEye 007, another thing that fell short. You don't have the variety of characters like you had in the N64 one. For the $50, go find an N64 and go find GoldenEye for 64. You're going to have a better time with that and get a bunch of friends together. Mafia 2, I had a review on it. You know why it's bad. Saw 2, really? You made a sequel? And probably one of the most bad decisions that you can make for the holiday season is getting someone PlayStation Move. The giant snow cone of a system that they have not perfected in any games that you haven't seen on the Wii. Now the good list. We have Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2, Donkey Kong Country Returns, he's back and he's better. Disney's Epic Mickey, yes, a Mickey game is good, okay? They've been okay so far, but this one's one to pick up. The Sims 3. If you like The Sims, it made a perfect jump finally onto consoles, the game we've been asking for years. Dance Central for the Kinect. Yes, Xbox Kinect actually has some quality stuff they can do with the motion system. Imagine that. The Kinect itself, it's actually a quality device. Check it out. There's a bunch of videos online about it. I'm going to try to find one somewhere to do a review on it over the holiday season so I can kind of show you what it's all about. And an older title came out earlier this year, but I think it's a great game. Red Dead Redemption. And Here's another one. Call of Duty Black Ops. Wait. I said it was bad. But it's also really good. If you're good at the game, it's a lot of fun. And the campaign is really fun. So I guess, that's a good and bad game. You can be good and bad, can't you? And last but not least, Halo Reach. They just added a new map pack, Noble map pack. So, the game's still expanding and it's still growing from there. And people are still leveling up and getting new armors. And I haven't done a review. I'll have a review on that soon. It's a great game. I highly recommend it. So, that's the good and the bad list for this Christmas 2010 from Box News. Like I said, I might have another Christmas video. If not, I wish you all happy holidays. And I'll have some more reviews soon to come. Got a bunch of new games I'm playing, so be on the lookout for new videos very soon. Thank you again for joining Box News.